Hello there. I thought we should do a quick review of all the battles that we've done so far. This would be Module 18, Sections 1 through 4. There weren't really any battles that we have on our charts from Section 4, so I guess it's more like Sections 1 through 3. I pulled up a couple maps here so that I have a visual aid to show you where these battles were, to remind you of what we talked about before we left. I also want to remind you that the Union territory is blue, and you can see the border states are light blue, so those are still part of the Union, and the Confederate territory is gray. What you want to do is get your battles chart in front of you. You could follow along with me to make sure that you are remembering all the things that you wrote down because it's been a while. You can press pause at any time, obviously. And then when you're done watching this video, there will be a narrated slideshow to take you through the other battles that we haven't done yet, which would be in Section 5. So let's start with the first battle of Bull Run that happened in July of 1861. It's over here in Virginia. You can see that on the overview map on the left, there is this little inset that then is blown up over here on the right to show us all the battles that are going on in Virginia because, like I said before, a lot of the fighting did happen in Virginia because the two capitals are over in that area. You can see Washington, D.C. is here, which is the capital of the Union, and then Richmond is down here, which is the capital of the Confederacy. So many battles are happening in this area. One of the pieces of the Anaconda Plan that has not been achieved yet is capturing Richmond, Virginia. Remember, Grant got control of the Mississippi River, and the blockade has been put in place. So really, that's the last piece. Anyway, going back to July 1861, this was the first major battle of the war. It's a Confederate victory. That's why it's red. And it proves that this is going to be a long war. It's not going to be over quickly. That's where Stonewall Jackson got his nickname. Now we're going to jump to the left over here to Fort Henry and Fort Donelson along the Cumberland and Tennessee rivers. Those are victories for General Grant. His objective is to make his way over to the Mississippi River and get control of it. And that's what his mission is. So he does succeed there, and that's going to give him control of those two tributaries. Now we're going to come over to Virginia again. The third battle on your chart is the Peninsular Campaign. This was the campaign to get to Richmond. McClellan, General McClellan for the Union, thought, let's go down this way and come up this peninsula in Virginia. That's why it's called the Peninsula Campaign. And this is where the 7 days battles took place. Obviously, Second Bull Run is way up here where the first Bull Run was, but all of these are Confederate victories. McClellan is fired. He's replaced by Pope, and then Pope is fired, and McClellan is rehired. Lincoln is getting very impatient about how the Union generals are handling this war. But the bottom line is Richmond has still not been captured. Now, also on this map over here, you see where the Monitor versus the Merrimack happened, which is basically right where we just were. In the spring of 1862, that battle is going to solidify Union control of the blockade. So that's very important to the Anaconda Plan. As you can see, the ships over here along the Atlantic coast, and then they go around Florida, by the way, and then they go along the Gulf Coast as well. That's stopping anything from coming in or going out of the Confederacy, which is going to cripple their economy and cut off any supplies that they would be getting from other countries to help them fight this war. So that was important. That was the spring of 1862. Shiloh is the next one on your list, and that's over here in Tennessee. This is going to be a victory for General Grant as well. Again, remember, he's working his way to the Mississippi River, and it's going to give him more control of that Mississippi River Valley. The next one on your list happened in September of 1862. Remember, General Lee's success in the Peninsular Campaign gave him a lot of confidence, and he decided, you know what, let's go on the offensive and let's attack the North. So he ended up attacking up here in Antietam, Maryland, just across the border. It's right outside of Harper's Ferry, Virginia. And that is a huge Union victory for General McClellan, actually, who had been rehired by Lincoln, but after the victory, he did not chase his enemy back down into Confederate territory, and that made Lincoln mad again, so he fires him for the last time. Remember, Antietam is the bloodiest one-day battle in American history, still to this day. But McClellan's gone now. The next one on your battles chart, if you flip it over, we're on the back now, is Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville. That's actually going to be the first one that I cover in the other narrated slideshow that you're going to watch. So I'm not really going to say much about that right now, but just so you know, this is where it is on the map. They're both in Virginia. Let's go over to Vicksburg. That's the last one that you should have filled in on your battles chart. That's in Mississippi, and it's right on the Mississippi River. Remember David Farragut, the guy who's been in the Navy since he was like 7 years old? He was down here in New Orleans. He got control of New Orleans, and he's able to make his way up the Mississippi River in order to support General Grant, who has laid Vicksburg under siege. It's going to be about a 6-week-long siege, and the Confederates eventually do have to surrender. And that is the key to getting control of the Mississippi River for the Union. It is the second piece of the Anaconda Plan that has now been put in place, and it allows General Grant to now come over to this area to help the Union get control of Richmond. President Lincoln is very excited to finally have somebody come over who is going to be aggressive enough to get it done. So that's my review. You'll now be watching a narrated slideshow to take you through the last battles of the war. The first one's going to be about Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville. I'll see you over there.